Hello and welcome to my channel, Rhino here. Today it's time to finish up with David C. Pack and his views on sex. Where we left off in the last video, we're still not actually sure what any of his views on sex are, other than it bad. And that's about it. I just summed up in about 5 seconds what he took 12 minutes to say. So let's see if he gets anywhere in the last 12 minutes.
But conditions have gone far beyond simple adultery, which is wrong enough. Recognize that the worst kinds of perversion and sick, degenerate practices in modern society cannot even be discussed in this broadcast.
Yes, they can. You're just too much of a prude. And how are you supposed to tell me what you consider to be wrong behavior if you can't even discuss that behavior? No wonder you're so vague. Well, here's a list you should enjoy. Blowjob, cunnilingus, anal sex, orgy, masturbation, double penetration. There. Consider it discussed.
Here is why. For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret.
So it took you, what, all of 5 seconds to give a reason why you can't talk about sexual acts that you think are wrong? But 7 minutes into your video, you still haven't even touched on why you think anything sex-related is actually wrong.
One of the greatest areas in which knowledge has flourished is that of sex. A plethora of information and instruction is now available. But has this avalanche of information enabled human beings to make better decisions in their sexual practices? Has the almost total pursuit of better sex and just plain more sex improved social conditions or solved any problems?
Yeah, it's now much easier to avoid unwanted pregnancies and STIs than it was 100 years ago.
Most people never stop to examine the depth to which sex permeates almost every facet of society.
We're aware of it. Sex sells. So what?
One can no longer turn on the television, and this also applies to movies, without finding a program that has at least sexual undertones, but more often blatant messages.
Yeah. You know what? I actually have noticed a trend where the LGBT community is being more fairly represented on TV. Shows like Jessica Jones, Orphan Black, and Doctor Who, for instance. And it's being done without it being a huge, "Hey, look, we have a gay character! Aren't we great and progressive for embracing the gays?" It's more of a, hey, here's a character. They're human. They also happen to be gay. No big deal. Just part of the character. Good for them.
And, again, there is now the internet and its online magazines, which offer a veritable buffet, an astonishing smorgasbord of incredible sexual perversions, titillations, venues, and activities.
Yeah, the internet's great. I didn't have to sneak into locker rooms or peek through windows for my titillations. I just had to Google. And I Googled before Google existed. We had the internet right in 1994 when it first went public, thanks to my dad working at a library. And now it's even easier. No more need for online magazines. We have Pornhub for videos, Google Images for pictures, Tumblr for GIFs, all for free.
Just as the old morality with its sex is shameful approach failed to yield happy, fulfilling marriages, the new one has likewise failed in this quest. The new morality, meaning without any morality, has caused marriages and the social fabric of nearly every Western nation to further deteriorate.
Starting with the evangelical Christians who have the highest divorce rate.
Why has this happened? Each of these extremes, along with man's entire spectrum of knowledge, is missing a vital dimension long since dismissed by professors of higher learning. Knowledge of this unknown dimension would rectify the ignorance and confusion that dominate this age.
So are you actually going to give us this vital piece of information that would change the world? Or are you just going to keep up with the vague references to it?
The new morality was given much press in the 1960s as it promoted drugs, fornication, adultery, the hippie lifestyle, and hostility toward the establishment. Its hedonistic motto was "Make love, not war."
Not such a bad motto, if you ask me. If people all over the world would just put down their guns to go get laid, the world would be a much better place.
Whenever such movements have attempted to amend moral codes, they only result in separating man further from his Maker's originally intended purposes and bring more harmful effects.
Purposes and effects which you have not even attempted to describe yet. How's your political career coming? You could almost out-Trump Trump with your vagueness. You just need to work a little bit on that top of the evolutionary chain arrogance.
God foretold that in the last days men shall be lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, and without natural affection.
So the true purpose of sex is to be a warning sign of the end times? That's honestly what I'm getting out of this. You make no sense.
In the age of gross materialism, mixed with rank hedonism, the 3 L's of leisure, luxury, and license have come to dominate the thinking of whole societies and nations.
200 years ago, people would have considered it a luxury to have enough extra time to be able to sit around for half an hour and talk about absolutely nothing like you are. They would have been busy doing things that we, with our technology, take for granted, like fetching the daily water, buying your daily meat, washing your clothes by hand, and all sorts of other things that common folk had to take care of on their own. I once made bread using tools and supplies that would have been used 200 years ago, and one loaf took about an hour of my active work, not including baking time. And this was something that normal people did for themselves on a daily basis. So don't complain about luxury. You are swimming in it yourself.
God pulls no punches in labeling many kinds of behavior as sin.
Okay, so you didn't come right out and say it, but I'm going to take that as a reason why some sex acts are wrong, and you use the worst possible reason. Because God done said it. And this is 12 minutes into your video all about sex and what is wrong with it. 12 goddamn minutes to say why you think the main topic of your video is wrong, and it's not even a good reason.
Here is what Christ himself said when describing the basic elements of the human nature found within every person. That which comes out of the man, that defiles the man. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, and others he included.
Keep in mind here that by the biblical definition, adultery is only when a married woman has sex with someone who is not her husband. A married man is allowed to sleep with an unmarried woman, and there are several examples in the Bible of men who are held up as being righteous, sleeping with unmarried women, slaves and servants in their house, concubines and prostitutes. And the word fornication is often used in the Bible to describe the worship of other gods or idols, so it doesn't necessarily mean sex here.
These are powerful indictments. God takes very seriously the misuse for personal indulgence of one's body, given solely for his supreme purpose.
That's right, folks. The all-powerful creator of the universe who can spend time wherever, whenever, and doing whatever he pleases worries about what you do with your dick. If I had that kind of power, I probably wouldn't concern myself with the genitals of the pests on a speck of dust in one of the hundreds of billions of solar systems in one of the billions of galaxies in the universe.
This broadcast is for those who will consider what Almighty God instructs, not for the unwilling.
You mean I watched 14 minutes of this before you think to tell me that it's not directed at me? What the hell is wrong with you? Are you a sadist?
God reveals that marriage and sex have a marvelous purpose completely beyond the bounds of human imagination.
And are you going to say what it is this time?
After learning God's explanation, you can judge whether it makes more sense than what is offered by evolutionists and traditional Christianity.
Guess not.
Remember, if you will not accept God's revealed word, you are left with no choice but to be ignorant of how and when marriage began and of the purposes of sex.
Well, marriage as we know it today certainly didn't begin in the Bible. The God of the Bible is rather fond of polygamy, actually.
Where then can men find this missing spiritual knowledge, so lacking in all the publications that stress only the physical aspects of sex?
Apparently not from you, because we're 15 minutes in, and you still haven't said anything about what the missing spiritual knowledge is.
We offer a book unlike any other about sex, titled Sex, its unknown dimension, it is filled with information about a world gone mad over sex.
Is this whole video just to sell us a free book? Really? A half-hour book commercial? That's a bit excessive.
Exactly what is the unknown dimension of sex, and much, much more.
Well, it is free, so I downloaded a copy from your website. Now, in your book titled Sex, Its Unknown Dimension, it takes you until chapter 4 before you name a chapter, What is the Unknown Dimension? That shouldn't really surprise me at this point, after getting to know you from your video a little bit, so I skipped to chapter 4. It goes from page 47 to 64. The closest thing I could find to your definition of an unknown dimension was on page 60, just 4 pages before the end of the chapter called What is the Unknown Dimension? And you kind of called it revealed knowledge, but you still never mentioned what this revealed knowledge is supposed to actually be. Is God supposed to explain to you how to pass your math exam when you're having sex or something? The whole book is just as vague as your damn video.
God knew there must be a source that plainly reveals and defines morality and proper human conduct.
Did he? Because he did a really lousy job of revealing morality if you're talking about the Bible.
As mentioned, the true understanding of this unknown dimension is found in the Bible, the Word of God. No other source reveals it.
No source other than the Bible reveals it, so order my book to have it revealed to you.
Man was created after the God kind, in his image and likeness. Notice, and God said, "Let us make man in our image after our likeness." The account continues, "Male and female created he them, and God blessed them." This passage makes God the author of sex and the sole authority on it.
So wait, you're not going into more detail on how God is both male and female? I find that point a bit interesting, especially given the Bible's views on women.
Sex is the product of God's design and creative forethought and is not, as some religionists think, a mischievous stunt in which the devil somehow marred God's otherwise perfect creation.
Or a third option, it developed through natural selection as a way to increase genetic diversity, requiring neither God nor Satan. Well, I thought I was going to get this done in 2 goes, but unfortunately this guy drones on so much, and he says so much that needs to be answered. I can't just skip over it. I probably should, but I just can't bring myself to do it. I have to answer it. So anyways, thanks for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment on the video, and have a great day.